If you've ever found yourself putting off important tasks until the last minute, you're not alone. Procrastination is something we all struggle with at some point, and it can seriously hold us back from reaching our full potential. Today, I'm going to be diving deep into the idea of procrastination, why it happens, and more importantly, what you can do to overcome it. Whether you're a chronic procrastinator or just looking for some tips to boost your productivity, I'm going to be covering it all. Overcoming procrastination can be challenging, but with the right strategies implemented on a daily basis, you can become more productive. The first thing you can do to manage or tackle your procrastination is to break tasks down into more sizable chunks. Large tasks can seem really overwhelming, which then leads to procrastination. By breaking them down into small, manageable steps, you're more likely to achieve them. So why not focus on things like identifying the tasks you're actually procrastinating on and why that might be. So if you're doing something quite heavy on a day, like trying to write a book or trying to plan out your business or something along the lines of that, then breaking that down into more sizable chunks is more realistic. So if you're trying to start a business, day one, you can start by thinking about the branding. Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about the profit. Don't worry about what place you're going to rent to start your business. If it's online, don't worry about the website yet. Just worry about what you're going to call it. And then once you figure that out, you can move on to things like how you might want to host the website, or if it's a physical business where you're going to have physical products, then where are you going to be selling the products? How are you going to be selling them? If you break them down into those sorts of sizable, manageable steps, then you're more likely to do the thing and not procrastinate. Setting yourself actionable steps every single day will help. So as I just said, breaking them down step by step, but actually taking action on the day. So if you're going to say that you're focusing on the logo day one, then you need to make sure you're spending all of your time on the logo. But also, creating a logo and branding is a big thing in itself. So you have to break that down as well. Think about the fonts you might want to use, some of the colors you might want to use, why you're naming it the thing you're naming it. Does that name have anything to do with what you're selling? If it doesn't, then why? You need to be mindful of all of these little things. Now, another example is writing a book. Writing a book is a mammoth task. You're not going to do it overnight. So what would be important is to figure out what the book is about. Who are the characters? How many chapters is it going to have? Are you going to have a part 2, a part 3, a part 4? Or is it just one book? All of these small, manageable steps can help you get closer to your end goal. The second thing is the steps that you are taking, make sure that they're achievable. Setting clear goals can give you a sense of direction and reduce the ambiguity that usually leads to procrastination. So you need to make sure that the goals that you are setting yourself are clear. And the way you can make sure that the goals are clear is by defining what success means to you. So if you're trying to complete something, what does success look like? Does success look like you completing a task in one day or in 1 week? Does it mean that you've done 5 or 6 different things, or is it just one thing? If you're able to write these things down, you're able to then see what you need to achieve. Keeping things in your head or trying to remember things doesn't work very well. So if you can write them down, have a vision board, or write something somewhere so you can go to it and cross it off once it's done, you're more likely to be excited about the next step of it rather than forgetting what you were meant to do and actually then not wanting to do it at all, which then means that you're procrastinating and delaying your process. One way you can stay on top of your goals is by using the SMART technique, which is making sure that the tasks or what you're trying to achieve is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Using these 5 elements, you can make sure that you stay on track with your goals. And if you're able to identify the SMART model in what you're doing, you're more likely to carry on going with what you're trying to do. Procrastination stems from boredom. It comes from not knowing what to do next. It can come from sometimes doing something you don't really want to do. So if you can iron those things out early on, then you can make sure that whatever you're doing and when you're proceeding to the next thing, that you're excited about it, and then what you've just done, you've actually done at a high quality. You've actually done it because you've wanted to do it, and you've been able to fulfill that criteria. So going back to the previous point of holding yourself accountable, making sure that everything you're doing, you are giving yourself some kind of deadline. Because if you say to yourself, I want to write a book in a year, then you're going to take a year. And sometimes, yes, books are long to write, but sometimes if you set yourself a deadline, then you could potentially meet that deadline. And not just any deadline, they have to be realistic. So if you're trying to run a marathon and you're 3 months away from the London Marathon and you've never run a day in your life, you're probably not going to finish the marathon. But if you've given yourself a year to train for that London Marathon, that is more realistic and you are more likely to achieve it. So again, you need to hold yourself accountable, you need to be realistic, and you need to make sure that you have deadlines to the things that you want to do. The third thing is eliminating distractions. Distractions are absolutely everywhere. In this day and age, the biggest distraction we have in our lives is our smartphone. It is within arm's length pretty much all day. And when you get bored or you can't figure out what to do next, the first thing you do is grab your smartphone and start scrolling. So you need to make sure that your smartphone is nowhere in sight. You also need to identify any other distractions you have in your environment. So if you're in a loud environment, that can be very distracting. If you're around friends, that can definitely be distracting. If you're in a room in the house which has a lot of distractions like a games console, or if you're a reader, books, then you need to not be in that environment. You need to get out of that environment somewhere where the distractions are limited. Things like uninstalling social media apps from your phone can be really, really helpful. If you're able to, then having 2 phones, one for social media and one for all general use, that can really help as well. That's something that helps me out on a daily basis. So I have one phone for when I want to upload and post, and the other has nothing on it. So I can't go on it and start scrolling whenever I want to. There's literally nothing on it to scroll. Creating a dedicated work environment can also help you. So as I've just mentioned, if you can find a room or space in a house, or even in a local library where you have quiet areas, somewhere like that can help you stay on task, and it is more likely that you're able to get on with your work and procrastinate less. The fourth technique that you could implement is the Pomodoro technique. The Pomodoro technique encourages short bursts of creativity, and the way it works is you would do 25 minutes of solid work, no distractions, nothing. You set a timer for 25 minutes, you do your task, and then you take a 5-minute break. And in that 5 minutes, you can go for a walk, you can grab yourself some water, you can do something different to what you were doing for the last 25 minutes, and then you do that again. You do 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, and this is a technique that can help. Traditionally, you would repeat this for 4 rounds and then increase the breaks. So you do 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off for 4 rounds, and then you would increase the break to 25 minutes on, 15 minutes off, just to keep things fresh. Make sure you're taking regular breaks, and just to change up the routine and the pattern a little bit as well. The last and the most important thing is to practice self-compassion. Being too hard on yourself and overly critical can lead to procrastination, but having a positive mindset, being kinder to yourself, can allow you the headspace to believe in yourself and really start working hard. And again, the reason why this is important is because if you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe that what you're doing is important to you, then it's not going to be important. So self-compassion is very, very important to implement, to allow yourself the headspace not to procrastinate, not to get distracted. One of the ways you can do this is to acknowledge that procrastination is a normal thing. Everybody goes through it, so don't be too hard on yourselves when you do procrastinate. It happens. It happens in the professional sphere. Students do it. People across the globe, people in all kinds of different professions procrastinate. Your case isn't different. And once you realize that you're actually a human being, then you can be kinder to yourself and actually procrastinate less. Another thing you can do is to forgive yourself for procrastination that you have indulged in the past. That time is gone, it doesn't matter. Just think about the future, think about implementing better strategies for yourself. Don't worry too much about what's happened, what's in the past. The past is the past. You can't control it now, so worry about the future and how you're going to do things in a different way. By applying these strategies consistently, Hopefully, this will allow you to procrastinate less and be more productive. But as I said, if you do procrastinate, it's fine. Just refer back to these points, and as the days and the weeks and the months go on, you'll find your own ways to reduce your procrastination. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button, make sure to subscribe and share, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Take care.